Good morning, boys and girls. It's Miss Petrelli, and welcome to week 9 of our art class. I am looking forward to today's lesson very much because we are going to be talking about form. We have been talking in the past couple of weeks about creating the illusion of form, right? Of 3D form. You say 3D form. Very good. And we were talking about, as artists, how it's our job to make that happen on paper, which is flat. You do whoosh. Good. Flat, whoosh. Two-dimensional, which means that you can only measure the paper two ways because it is flat. And we were trying as artists to put our lines and our values onto the flat paper, and by doing that in special ways, we could create that look of being able to grab that three-dimensional form, that ice cream cone, that vase of flowers, whatever it is that we were trying to show on our paper or convey on our page. And so we are now going to move forward, and instead of trying to create the illusion of a three-dimensional form, we are actually going to create a 3D form in the form of a sculpture. And we are going to need just a couple of materials. I thought that I try to keep it as basic as possible to try to think of things and materials that you have at home that you don't have to go and buy, okay? So what you're gonna need for today is a rock that you could find outside, maybe near the curb or the sidewalk or in your backyards. Or if you don't have a rock, maybe you have a shell from the beach, or any other thing that you might have at home that has a little weight to it. Maybe a block from a toy or anything. Maybe, I don't know, a plastic cup that you can use and flip it upside down. I mean, whatever it is that you have to use as a base. Now, you're also going to need maybe a scissor, okay? If you don't have a scissor, you can just rip the paper, and I'll show you how to rip the paper. And you might need a little tape, but I'm not sure. It all depends on you, okay? So, and the most important material that we need. I thought everybody might have tin foil at home, okay? Aluminum foil. So if you do have this at home, please ask a grown-up if you can borrow like 2 pieces. I'll show you what we're gonna do as soon as we're ready to do it, okay? So those are the materials that we're going to need for this week's artwork for our sculpture. And I did want to show you that my favorite sculptor is Alberto Giacometti. You say, Alberto Giacometti. Very good, boys and girls. And he was born in Switzerland, and he was known to be a modern artist. So instead of the sculptures that you would see in Italy, in Rome, that looked very, very lifelike and looked exactly like how a person would look, he did the opposite. He thought of making it simplified, right? So his figures, right, or his people or his animals, they didn't look very realistic. And so they were more surrealistic. You say surrealistic. Excellent, boys and girls. I'm super proud of you. So surreal, you can think of it as the opposite of real. Realism, surrealism. Realism looks very, very realistic, like how we do, or how a flower really looks, or whatever it is that we are observing directly. And surrealistic is more dreamlike, more fantasy, right? Left more to our imagination, as opposed to observing exactly as we see the objects. So he was a super famous artist, and he started when he was very, very young as a boy. And he had artistic members in his family, and so he was constantly around clay and wood and metal to make in the workshop at the house. And so he started to work with clay, and then he moved on to make metal pieces with bronze and other materials that we don't have in our houses. But lucky for us, I think if everybody cooks and eats, then probably you would have aluminum foil, okay? So, but if you don't have aluminum foil, you could just use a piece of paper too, okay? And so if you only have a piece of paper, use the piece of paper instead of the aluminum foil and follow my step-by-steps, okay? All right, so let me show you. I'm gonna ask you to ask the grown-up if you could please have a piece of aluminum foil like this big maybe, okay? So like maybe 2 pieces of paper worth of aluminum foil, okay? And before we begin, let me show you what it is that we're gonna do today. If you look over here, my inspiration was actually my dog Marvin, because I know that you guys have talked a lot about Marvin, and you've told me that you think he's super cute, and I appreciate it. And let me spin you around so that you can see Marvin. And that is where, hi Marvin, that is where he likes to sit while I do our art classes. He likes to look out the window. So now I'm gonna spin you back here, and we can start our art lesson. So he was my inspiration, and I thought, what a great artist to talk about sculpture and 3D form than Alberto Giacometti, because he made the dog, the cat, and these people that appear to be walking or standing. So I'm going to show you the 2 kinds of sculpture that exist. And one is freestanding. And that one simply means that it is standing, right, freely on its own, right, without any help. It's standing there. Does it look like a dog? I hope it looks kind of like a dog, right, because it's supposed to be. So it has 4 legs, and it is freestanding, okay? And the other kind of sculpture that there exists is one that has a base or a support. So as you can see, this is sitting in my hand, and it is standing, but it has a support. So we are going to make our figure today, okay? We're not going to make the dog because that's a little bit more difficult. We're going to start by making the person, okay? And so this figure of a person, you can pose it any which way that you want. And we're going to start by using this piece of foil. So if you can get a piece of tin foil like this, that would be awesome. I'll put this here. And all we need is the foil. And you can put it the shiny side out, or you can put the matte side facing outward. That's your choice. Right here I have the shiny side facing out, and I put this black board here so that you can see the sculptures better against a black backdrop, okay? All right, let me slide this guy over. Now you can see both of them. Okay, so we're gonna take this piece like this, and if you have a scissor, you can just take the scissor and cut all the way to be right just below the middle. If you don't have a scissor, don't worry. Go like this, take the paper, and we're going to tear it. Carefully, we're just going to rip it down to about there. Okay, can you see that? a little hard. Okay, so it's still together, but it looks like that. Oh, I forgot to show you. Let me back up 1 second. Let's say I take this piece of tinfoil, right? Since we need to discuss form and how we are changing it into a three-dimensional form. Going from a flat, two-dimensional surface into a form. So this is flat. It's two-dimensional. You can only measure the length and the width, right? Right. There's no depth. It's not deep. It can't hold anything, no volume. So now if I take this and I scrunch it up, what am I doing? Am I changing it? Yeah, I am. I'm curling. By curling, now I have done what? I have created a 3D form. You say, cylinder. Very good. So I have just now created a three-dimensional form, and I have transformed it from a flat, two-dimensional shape of a rectangle, right? A rectangle. And I have curled it and created a 3D form, because now I have length, I have the width of it, and I have depth. I can fill this space inside of my cylinder, right? And if I wanted to make a sphere, if you remember our ice cream cones, we started with a circle, right? A flat circle shape. And then let's pretend, or let me just make one since I do have a scissor. Let me cut a circle, and I'll show you transforming a flat two-dimensional shape of a circle into a three-dimensional form of a sphere, right? A ball. So here is my flat two-dimensional shape. Now if I take it and I crumble it up, what have I created? If you said a ball or a sphere, you're correct. That's right. I scrunched it up, and now, is it flat? Nope, it's not flat. It rolls around like a marble, right? Like a ball, and it is now a sphere, right? So you are transforming a flat two-dimensional shape into a three-dimensional piece. And that three-dimensional piece is what we call sculpture. So now let's get back to this. We'll put this away here for when we need it. And we are back to our sheet of aluminum foil. And you could cut or you could tear. But look at how much I tore. Well, let me see. Maybe I'll put this here now, so that you can see me working against it. Okay, we have a flat piece right here, and I have cut it just like that. And now I'm going to take it, and all I'm going to do is take this one side and scrunch it up, right? I'm scrunching, I'm making a leg. That's what I have so far. And you can do this flat on the table, or you can do it up in the air like me. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing, right? Now I'm gonna take the other side, and I want you to scrunch that up as well. Scrunch it. So now we have two legs. Two legs, and this foil is kind of curling around, right? And that's okay. So now you can curl it around, And this is going to become our figure's body. And then up here, you can close it up and that can become the head. So now, this is what we have, right? We have something that looks like it's supposed to represent a head. Then we have something in the middle here that represents a body. And then two long extensions that can represent legs, right? Doing whatever we want to do. He or she could be dancing. They can be, I don't know, walking, sitting, doing whatever you want. You can pose them later, but we have this so far. Now we're gonna need some arms. So if you can, get another piece of foil. It doesn't have to be as wide. It just has to be long enough. And if you don't have one long enough and you have to add on, this is an additive sculpture, right? You are continuing to add pieces as you go. So it's an additive, meaning you are adding. You say additive. Good job. Okay, so I'm gonna take this piece and I'm just gonna curl it or scrunch it or make it like a hot dog, right? And you are creating, you're transforming a flat surface into a 3D form. I am so proud of you. Look at you, you're sculpting. It's exciting, right? Okay, now I'm gonna take this long piece and I'm going to put it behind my figure. And remember, this is the head up here somewhere. Then if I pinch in there, that can represent the neck. And then I'm just going to either pinch this or wrap it around. I could just wrap it around and now those become the arms. The fun thing about using tinfoil is that not only does it feel cool to do, it's fun to experiment with it. And you can add parts or you can fold it or roll it, right? So now we have a figure. And it can't stand, right? The dog is standing because it has 4 legs. But this guy needs some help. So we're going to have to give him a base. You say base. Good. Okay. Hey, you can think of it like a baseball base, right? The bases, you have first, second, third, and then home. You need a base. So now's the time when you pick something that can support him, right? A support to help hold. I'm gonna pick this shell that I have, and I'm just gonna take my scrap piece of aluminum foil that I had from before, and I'm going to place either my rock on it. Can you see that? Okay, I'm placing my rock on there, or I'm gonna put my shell there, right? And then, once I have it there, I'm trying to position this where you can see. Okay, now I'm going to put one of my legs, right on top of that shell. Okay, there, sorry. And now I'm going to bring the tin foil up and around, like I'm wrapping a gift or a present. And I'm going to wrap it around, and then that extra piece of foil will help hold my figure's leg. All right, now I'm gonna scrunch it up really good, press the tin foil into the rock or into the shell or into the block that you have from your toys or into a bunch of pieces of Legos that you put together, okay? Now, voila, look, it's magical. Now I have a piece of sculpture that is a figure, and I can bend it. by folding it or bending it, now I've given this figure a knee, right? Here, let me remove this guy and remove this guy. I'll put them down here. And now you can see up against this black board here, you can see the figure, right? So now I have this figure and I can make it look like it's running, right? Maybe he's or she's in a really big hurry. I can bend this piece here and give him a foot, give her a foot. She is in such a big hurry, she's running to catch the train or the bus, or maybe she's on a baseball team and running to round the bases, right? It's fun. You can make a whole family out of these. You can make you and your friends, right? So I just wanted to show you, boys and girls, that this is no longer flat. It is not a flat surface or piece of paper or board. It is now a 3D form, like we are as human beings. We can go around this space. We can grab it, right? It's not flat. So this, boys and girls, is our sculpture for this week. And I am super excited to be able to share this with you, and I hope that you do have the aluminum foil at home. If you do not, I told you that you could use paper, and I meant it. Let me get a sheet. And the thing with the paper is that you might need the tape for that. The aluminum foil, you can kind of scrunch it to itself and it stays. The piece of paper, if I took this piece of paper and I did the same thing and I tore it like this for the legs, and then I scrunched this up for a leg, I would need some tape to probably keep it that way. But it could still be done. You could do it like this, and then if you had some tape, you could wrap tape around it to hold its form. So there are many, many things that you can do with just regular, everyday materials that you have at home. See? So you could certainly do that. And the body would be this one. And you could crumble it the same way that we did with the tin foil. And if you wanted to make your figure out of paper, you could do that. And if you had construction paper, color paper, you could make a whole rainbow of people, right? You could choose different colors for different figures. I really just want you to experiment with some other materials, because I know that it's exciting when you get to use a new medium. And I wanted you to be able to explore sculpture, okay? So I cannot wait to see your artwork. I am super excited, and I look forward to seeing what you have for next week, okay? Thank you very much, boys and girls. I'm really proud of you for doing what you're doing today. You're very brave, okay? And by the way, one more thing. I don't want you to get frustrated, but it happens. It happens to every artist. So let me just show you before I go that we have some some helpful tips, and they're right here. It says mindset matters. And what that means is that it says, this one says, I can't do it. But instead of telling yourself, I can't do it, it's too hard, retrain your brain to tell yourself, I'm on the right track, right? I'm on the right track. I can't quit. I have to keep going. It says, change your words to change your mind. Here it says, this is too hard. It's too hard. I can't do it. I want to quit. Instead of saying that, say, this may take some effort, but it's worth it. it's worth a shot. I'm going to continue to try my best. It says, I made a mistake. So what? Everybody makes mistakes, right? And instead of saying I made a mistake and getting frustrated and angry and wanting to give up, tell yourself, mistakes help me learn. Then I don't make the same mistake again because I remember, oh, that didn't work out very well for me. So you try a different way, right? We always have to work at finding a solution, but don't give up. It says, I give up. Don't say I give up. Never quit. Say, let me try another way, okay? And also in this social distancing, even though we are not in class together in person, your classroom is your home, just like my classroom right now is from my home. So try to do this in our classroom. Try to respect yourself, others around you. If you want to remove yourself and find a little quiet space to do your artwork, try to do that. If you want to play a little music to help yourself calm down, relax, get into a creative mood, then do that. Also be respectful of people around you. Maybe you have cousins or siblings that are also trying to do their work, so you should be respectful of their time and their space and their needs and be quiet, right? So that they can focus and concentrate and you can as well. Listen, stay calm. If you get frustrated, don't get angry and start throwing things and breaking crayons. Instead, go, I can do this. Take a deep breath and exhale out and then just keep trying. There's no reason to cry or get angry, but if that happens, you can always calm yourself down, okay? And that's it. I will always do my best, right? No matter what. Always, always do your best because that is when I am most proud of you, and that's when you make the most beautiful artwork. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say for this week, boys and girls. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.